Thank you for staying with us. Security has been a constant source of worry for many Nigerians. With various security threats, especially in the northern parts of the country, it has become imperative for security agencies, including the Nigeria Immigration Service, to look for loopholes on how many of these threats enter various states and cause havoc. We have joining us via Zoom the Assistant Comptroller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, Sunday James. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Could you unmute, please? We can't hear you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Right, we can hear you now. The matter of security has been a major concern, and it's also a matter that's been on the front burner for this current administration, even though successive administrations have tried to address the issues. But one constant challenge has been the matters of our borders, and that is the jurisdiction of immigration service, so to speak, to know how many people our borders, to man our borders and ensure that they help address those who come in and go out. Talk to us how challenging it has been over the years with regards to manning our borders in such a way that the country is really secure.
Thank you very much for bringing me on board and on air. As a former service public relations officer of Nigeria Immigration Service, I think I'm in the right position also to speak on the Nigeria Immigration Service operation and administration. I'm presently, as an Assistant Comptroller General of Immigration Service, in charge of Zone C that comprises Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Plateau, and Yobe states. The Northeast has been on the front burner in the area of security. And the wise man said, when the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Right.
We must define what the Nigerian state is, first and foremost. I understand the area of coverage. And therefore, the operatives, they must understand that at every point they are posted to a specific location, they must be able to understand the area of coverage for their operation. They must also be able to understand the problems that are there for them to handle, which is the main assignment they are sent to do. And then they must also understand the strength and skill of their operatives. So back to your question. Nigeria has a landmass of about 923,768 square kilometers. On land area, Nigeria has about 802 square kilometers. On water, 13,000 square kilometers. And on the coastline, 853 kilometers. What are we saying? When we are talking about the Northeast area, which has a land area, is not all water, but we must understand that the land boundary of Nigeria alone is about 4,047 kilometers. The border countries on the west by the Republic of Benin Republic has about 773 kilometers, and Cameroon has about 1,690 kilometers north by Niger. Niger side alone, we have about 1,497 kilometers, which is the area I'm covering. 1,497 kilometers. That's for the operatives working under me, the controllers in those 6 states. Then we have Chad republics that has about 80 kilometers bordering Nigeria. And then we have the south of the country that has the Atlantic. When we go to see the nature of the service called immigration, there is no reason why we should not appreciate the role of the officers on the field because of this landmass. And Nigeria Immigration Service being the lead agency in border security and migration management, we have human elements. But thank God for the technology building and the deployment of technology, which I'm going to get into, which is the major area that the Nigerian Immigration Service is focusing on now. Because if you use the quantity, the number of officers that you are having, they cannot be enough to man these landmass that I've defined to you. That's why I gave you the statistics of the landmass and the coastal area and the maritime area. But since I'm covering the Northeast, I'm talking about the Northeast particularly now on a specific note. I have Adamawa under me. Before Adamawa was created, there was Gongola. And in this state, two states were created, Taraba and Gongola, and Adamawa state. If you come from Yola on your way to Maiduguri, you must pass through Mubi, you must pass through Vintim, Baza, Michika, Madagali, then you enter Goza, Bama and Banki, before you enter Maiduguri proper. Then when you leave Maiduguri, which is Borno State, you head to Borno to Yobe. You must go to Damaturu, then you will have the flash points. Tulua, Machina, Nguru, and all the axes where the military are operating from now. In Adamawa, particularly in areas that are volatile and vulnerable, when you start from Vintim, you go to Bidwa, Uli. Then you enter to Kamale and Madagali. These are mountainous areas within Adamawa State. And these are areas that need to be combed by the use of technology. The deployment of officers alone cannot handle these issues. I'm talking to you from experience as a young officer I've served in that area. And now today, I'm the zonal coordinator, ACG.
Right.
Working under the Comptroller of Grace Service, Urola, Carola Adepoju. So for me, it is a development that must be done with all level of precision and perfection. And the controllers under me will be having a zonal meeting with me on the 18th to define the operational assignment given to us.
Interesting to know, Comptroller James. It's quite interesting, giving us the statistics, all of this, this landmass and how, is it to say that you are completely overwhelmed with the influx of people coming in? Because I'm also looking to ask about those who are perpetrating this security, breach and all of that, and attacking people, kidnapping people, the insurgents and all of that. Are they the natives, or are they people that are coming from other parts of the other countries into Nigeria? And how did they get in with some of these, light weapons and some of the mercenaries that they also use in prosecuting their crime?
For me, as an immigration senior officer, crime and criminality is not directly within my purview. The only assignment that is directly within my purview is border security, migration management. The only thing that makes crime and criminality be relevant to me is if we are able to apprehend any person that has a criminal tendency who does operating clandestinely, we hand them over to our sister security agencies, the police, the DSS, or any other operative that is available, because it's a joint operation. Naturally, you must operate collaboratively and in partnership. But for me, I would dwell more on the immigration security, which has to do with border security and migration management. And in this assignment, the major area of concern for me, the key success strategy for my operation in the Northeast as the zonal coordinator is information sharing platform. That is the area I feel very, very important within the security agencies and for me. Information sharing platform to develop a secure platform for real-time information sharing and intelligence exchange with sister security agencies, the neighboring countries where necessary, and we must have a critical role to play as operatives that are the lead agency at the border. We are supposed to have the database of all non-Nigerians that are going to come into the country and live in the country, and even Nigerians that are also living in the country and coming in. And with this quantum of data, it is very, very vital that we must be able to sort out, both for operational reasons, for policy and development. We must also, for the purpose of enhancing cross-border collaboration, we must have coordination between ourselves and the neighboring countries, which is at the level of foreign affairs and the top management of the service, at bilateral and multilateral level. There must be real community engagement. We must implement outreach programs to build trust and collaboration with local communities. That is why the Border Community Agency of Government, with the most of necessity, collaborate with Nigerian Immigration Service. They cannot work in isolation. If you have agency that they say they are the lead agency at the border, you must support them as agency of government that has quantum of resources to deal with border operation. Where would they be relevant? In the area of assisting immigration with operational vehicles, assisting immigration to make sure that the habitation that is built by the service is being rehabilitated, is being taken care of from time to time since they have the resources. The Nigerian Immigration Service may not have all the resources needed to maintain certain things. Then in the area of network of roads, because you cannot be plying the bush in the name of operation. If you want the non-Nigerians and Nigerians to come through an approved route, then there must be a good road network. So for this reason, if anything has to be done, there must be good road network, there must be good conducive accommodation and office facility for the operatives. The service is doing its best by making sure that at every point in time, the controllers are directed to come to their quarters to come and sign for bedding materials, for operational materials, even of recent. I like that the President Controller General of the Service, Carola Urola Depoju, PCC, DAGA, FCA, FSI, is deploying operational vehicles to the border to enhance border operation. If that is done, that's one area of it. That's logistic. But when it comes to issue of deployment of technology, because border security and migration management is a multi-layer approach issue. You cannot do it without technology. You must deploy the latest technology, the long-range capturing machine that you mount on your vehicles, the radar that you must put in place to capture movements. Even surveillance aircraft is very, very important for the Nigerian Immigration Service because we have the Air Border Patrol, which has to be resuscitated. All of you are living witness to the fact that when we were using the Air Border Patrol, surveillance activities was very, very apt. The Nigerian Immigration Service Air Border Patrol aircraft was used during the Bakassi operation for surveillance. That's how relevant Nigerian Immigration Service is. But today, we don't have a single aircraft. So it's of necessity that the federal government will help the service by giving us Air Border Patrol surveillance aircraft to assist the service to man the border aerially and to give report to the ground force. Because there must be both air to ground information sharing for the ground forces to be able to move to a specific direction. The use of drone is of importance. We cannot do an operation at the border with such a big land mass without using drones, without using the aircraft, and the officers need to be trained and retrained. We have series of training that has been going on in service, but the world is evolving.
Right.
We must imbibe modern technology.
So if I hear and get you correctly, there are so many issues you have brought up, and I'd like for you to confirm. Are you saying that there is no information or intelligence sharing platform as it is? Because you touched on that earlier on.
I'm emphasizing that the intelligence sharing platform must be amplified or upgraded. There should not be any reason for any interagency rivalry. We must share information real time. Me, as an immigration officer, if I have an information in my hand, I must share or need to know with any security agency that has a statutory assignment on that.
Give us a sense of how it has been for some time now, talking about the information sharing. Has there been some rivalry of some sort?
The issue of interagency rivalry is universal. Every agency wants to take the plus. But as far as I'm concerned, I know that with the present government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and with the marching order of the Minister of Interior on all the operatives, if any officer decides to keep an information, I think based on acceptable report, it will point at you that you are the one that failed by denying other agencies the information that's required. Because if anything happens within your territory, like I was trying to design a program for the controllers under me, there's no controller within these 6 states. If there's anything that happens within a command and he fails to report to the Controller General and also to give me a copy of the information, the controller will be held responsible for anything that is a default related to immigration service. So if every supervisor will work on their operative, ensuring that each and every person is being punished or sanctioned based on the failure of his assignment, everybody's hand will be on deck. So in the area of on the issue of whether people are actually, whether there's intelligence rivalry or hoarding of information, if individuals are being punished for hoarding information or for default, the system will change.
Interesting stuff. One thing again, still talking about the landmass and how much your agency is doing to ensure that our borders are safe. When Trump was in power in the United States, he was planning to build a wall, which he wasn't able to build at the end of the day. So with this landmass, what would you rather suggest, apart from the area surveillance, because some of these borders are, they are very, very porous, and it's affected a lot of things, with people coming in and going out, and talking about the contiguity of some of these states, these countries, bordering Nigeria, they speak somewhat the same language, and then you probably find it difficult to, recognize who is who. What would you rather suggest, apart from the area surveillance, and then the intelligence sharing among the interagencies, among the agencies concerned? What other things would you suggest? Talk about the kind of sophistication to be introduced to the land borders.
I would rather not agree with you on the issue of whether individuals can come into the country without being identified. As an immigration officer that has been trained, when I was a young officer, a 2-star officer, I was border patrol commander in Adamawa. And vividly, I can remember when I was at the checkpoint at the entrance of Mubi, a luxurious bus came with about 56 non-Nigerians. And I picked all these 56 people without missing anyone. And the occupants of those vehicles, our brothers from the eastern part of the country, they were like, this man was using something. You can't be trained, and you are actually well trained and not know what to do. By our training, we are trained to identify people, especially the kind of clothing they wear, in other area of interest that's to us, which I'm not going to disclose on TV. 56 of them. I picked them one after the other and dropped them for.
So are you trying to say that you recognize Nigerians way better than foreigners? You look at Niger, very close to some of the Niger bordering some areas in Sokoto, etc. Are you saying that you can recognize someone from Niger, for instance, as against a Nigerian, even though the person also speaks Hausa language?
We are talking of an ideal immigration officer. I'm defining what it means to be an officer. If you're an ideal officer who is trained, you should be able to identify individuals from not only Niger. Niger is not our area of interest. We have other states, other countries that are bordering us. Cameroon is there, Chad is there. We have the Republic. So identification of these people coming from this area, if you're an officer that has been stationed within that locality, you should be able to do that. Forget about the homogeneity and contiguous nature of the border. Yes, they can speak the same language. A Nigerian coming from Katsina or from Kano, Nigeria, they only speak the same Hausa we are speaking in Nigeria. A Fulani man coming from Cameroon does not speak Fulfulde, the same Fulfulde we are speaking in Nigeria. There's difference. A Beninois coming to Lagos speaks a different Yoruba language from what they speak in Lagos. The Chadian man that is going to speak Arab, because when I was in Borno, I have to learn part of the local Arab, they call it Gagalia. When somebody is coming, you ask him, where are you coming from? Meanwhile, they call it. I left that place about 20-something years ago, but I can still speak a little Arab. When you say Meanwhile, they call it, it means where are you coming from? So please, for the purpose of understanding what Nigerian Guest Service is, we are trained officers by virtue of the job we do. That's why we go to a training school. We have the first basic training school for the career officer, that is the subtenant cadre in Kano. After that, when you come to the controller cadre, you go to staff college. Then we have series of trainings we attend. So if an officer of immigration service who is posted to a place cannot on his own develop himself to understand the terrain, there's something must be wrong with the officer. And that's why I'm telling you that today I'm happy that the Controller of Immigration Service, Caroline Woodard-Adepoju, in our magnanimity, and the Honorable Minister of Interior posted me to the Northeast to head the Northeast zone. And these 6 states are very, very paramount to the security of this country, particularly from the northern axis. And with my experience, by the grace of God, the federal government will be happy for it, having peace from the Northeast. We are going to do our job as Nigerian Immigration Service to do border security and migration management, which is my purview. I'm not going to do any assignment that has to do with police work. Rather, I will send anything that has to do with police to the police. Anything that has to do with drug law enforcement agency, I'll send to NDLA. But I will concentrate more on my officers to do their job, which is the operational assignment of Nigerian Immigration Service, which has to do with border security and migration management. And this has to do with identification of persons entering or leaving the country, verification of the identity of individuals, verification of documents that are being used for entry and exit, and creating a conducive environment for individuals coming to the country without being coerced, without being forced, so as to make Nigeria a most desired destination, both for business, tourism, and everything that is perceivable. Our founding fathers in immigration have done a lot. We cannot fail them. The present Controller of Immigration Service is doing her best at the headquarters, but we at the periphery must do our best. Controllers, zonal coordinators, our hands must be on deck to ensure that our operators are working. In fact, the days of individuals leaving their duty post is gone. Operators must be at their duty post because I will call them both online and by whatever operation to make sure that I reach them. But what I'm pleading is that technology is the key. Our aircraft, by the grace of God, government should help us to have our air border patrol aircraft for surveillance so that we can be having ground-to-air communication. Then the other technology area that I talk about is very, very germane to immigration. The long-range cameras, the drones, and the radar, they are very, very important. They cover areas that human beings cannot cover because if the whole of 200 million Nigerians are put together to join their hands together, we cannot cover the border of this country. But so technology can do that for us with ease. We have the Command Control Center of the Immigration Service where you can see real time what's happening at the border. Such can be deployed at the zonal level too for the zonal coordinators to be able to see what's happening to its operatives in the states that the zonal coordinator is covering. Like myself, I'm covering 6 states. So definitely I will need to be able to see my officers real time. Presently, what I do is I use the technology that is given to us now, which is the Zoom, to be able to speak and see my officers. But beyond this, there must be an official means of assessing these officers directly.
Absolutely. And that's a fine place to leave this conversation this morning. Assistant Comptroller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, Sunday James, thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.